Hey folks, welcome to On the Icebox. I'm your host, Iceberg Bricks, and today it's my pleasure and honor to present to you Agents of MOC, Agent Playwell, aka Troy Anderson. Mr. Troy Anderson, say hello to the group.
Hey everybody, thanks for having me on, man. Really appreciate it.
The honor is mine, man. You're quite the mogul in the Lego community with the builds. You're very, very, very talented. And I know I'm probably, man star crushing here, but you know, so please excuse me, everybody. I gotta apologize, my man. I did not know you didn't like the Juggernaut until your wife told me.
I think that was just a, from the movie. I think that's what Agent Burkett was talking about.
Yeah. I figured. I said, you know what? I said, let me play around a little bit. I said, hey, I said, I'm gonna use the word juggernaut. Why not have the juggernaut in there? And she laughed and she said, he hates the juggernaut.
It was funny. No, it was funny. She was just playing. He knows that I hate him in the movie. How he's portrayed. So it was fun. It was fun.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, so you're a California boy, huh? You're from California, huh?
Over there, the West Coast here.
All right. West Coast is the best coast, they say, huh?
Yeah, you need to head out here at some point.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna make my way. Tell me, what's life like for a youth, in the '90s, growing up in California with so much going on, in the world, a lot of turmoil and everything like that. Tell us what life was like for you growing up in California.
Well, like when you're a kid, you don't really worry about that turmoil. You're just kind of having fun and enjoying life and discovering things, and that's pretty much what I did. My dad really kept me involved in the athletics. He did basketball, and he got me in basketball and baseball, and that was a lot of fun. And it teaches you a lot of good life lessons. So I did a lot of that when I was younger, and of course Lego. So,
oh yeah,
go ahead.
Oh yeah. And I wanted to touch on that a little bit. In your youth, of course, from I guess middle school to high school, we dibble and dabble in certain things, and so you played some sports, some youth sports.
I did, yeah. My dad pretty much coached all of my teams through Little League and rec basketball, and then kind of reached out with some club teams on the after season, and that was also a lot of fun. We got to travel to all kinds of different places in California, and just getting a different environment than you're used to, going every year to the Little League and stuff. So that was really a great extra thing that he got me involved with.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. So also while you were in I guess through the middle school and the high school, tell us about some of your art talents. So I heard you were a drawer, and like you did some illustration. Tell us about those illustrations.
Yeah, so like we were talking about earlier, when I was younger in elementary school, I did a lot of pencil drawing and did some comics. I'm a Marvel fan, so I did some of my own comics, and those typical drawings that you do when you're a kid. And it was fun. It was really fun to do that. And once I got to high school, it slowly evolved to the digital side of art. And it was actually middle school that I got my first class in Photoshop.
Okay.
So Photoshop is pretty much my go-to medium for digital art and graphics. I think like most of the people in the industry use. So yeah, I got into that quite a bit.
Right.
and I started releasing free wallpapers in the mid 2000 or the early to mid 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I started doing that for quite a while and got a pretty decent following on the internet. And so I kind of weaned off that once I
Mm-hmm.
got to, the late 2000s, early 2010s. And
Mm-hmm.
then I bought a house and was at Target one day
Mm-hmm.
buying stuff for the house. And I thought, you know what? I bought myself a house. I think I'm safe to go down the toy aisle and see what these kids are, playing with these days. So, of course, the Lego aisle was right there. It's pretty much in the same spot that it's always been since I was a kid. So I was pretty familiar with it. So I go
Right.
down the Lego aisle, and sure enough, they had Lego Marvel superheroes. And
Ah.
that was 2012, right when it came out. So that was a big thing. And I had no idea about AFOLs or the Lego community or anything at this point. But I
Mm-hmm.
saw Lego Marvel superheroes and I was like, oh my God. That's like my two favorite things, my two favorite toys as a kid melded into one.
Okay.
So that was like, you know what? Let's give this a shot just for fun. Let's buy a little $20 set and see what happens. And
Right. Right.
so I did. It was a Marvel superhero set. It was the Loki's Cosmic Cube Escape. It's the truck with the shield truck.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, the shield truck. Right. Wow.
So this one right here, I still have it built.
Yeah. Right.
It's
That was
still
the
one of my favorite sets.
that was your
So
comeback piece.
yeah, so I built that, and I dug it. It was cool. It was cool, but it wasn't the thing that brought me back into Lego.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple of years later, the Lego movie came out.
Okay.
And to be honest, I was a little bit skeptical at first. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, they're kind of just, they're kind of just feeding the consumer, they're trying to sell their products. But a friend of mine convinced me to go with him to go and see it.
Okay.
And it just hit me right in the feels, right in the heart, man. There were a couple, I got to be honest, there was a couple parts that made me tear up a little bit and kind of
Okay.
just took me back to the days of my childhood. And
Okay.
so Agent Briquette kind of convinced me to go to my parents' house
Mm-hmm.
and get my old brick from my childhood and start building, and the rest is history.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, that is fantastic, man. What tell us a little bit more about like when you said like when you went to watch the movie, you saw some of the sets that you remember as a kid. What are some of those sets that you remember going down memory lane?
So for the Lego movie,
Yeah.
well, the
I mean,
first
at least
guys,
one, if you can remember.
um, well, I'll tell you the character, which was Benny. You know,
Okay.
1980s. I have a Benny from when I was a kid, so I immediately latched onto his character, and
Mm-hmm.
you know, just the whole idea of a giant city with Emmett in it, and because I was a city builder when I was a kid too,
Okay.
so that just the whole movie, just they did such a great job, and just seeing all of the interesting builds that they did and how far they've
Mhm.
come since I was a kid. Because when you and I were kids, they didn't have all these crazy colors like
No.
sand green and sand blue,
No.
and
No.
what else, like all these crazy colors that they have now. So
Right.
it
Right.
was exciting. It was exciting to
Yeah.
see that, and it really like refreshed me to get back into it,
Okay.
and to find this community, this Lego community that is so large. Really, it really is large when you think about
Yeah.
it, and to find people similar that are in the similar situation,
Right.
and it's a possibility, you
Oh
know.
yeah, definitely, definitely, definitely. I think that that we all are, we all are pieces or pawns on a on a plane, and like even like pieces in the orchestra. Like we're all in a band together, and if we're
Yeah.
all in tune with one another, people can hear our music. One doesn't outshine the other, even though like I said, you'll crush me in a
Uh,
competition any day.
you could surpass me anytime you want to.
So I do a little I ask you a little bit of questions, and I do a little investigation and stuff like that. So the name Novacron, tell us about your name Novacron, because like I said, we was talking before, I'm thinking it's more Transformers, but
Yeah.
come to find out, you're a Trekkie. So tell us about that, especially, Star Trek, Jean-Luc Picard, the Next Generation, that's our era. So please
Yeah.
enlighten me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not crazy Trekkie or anything. I love the shows.
Hmm.
My mom is a Trekkie, so she would have that show on as much as she could. You
Right.
know, she had a little TV in the kitchen, and she'd have that on while she was cooking, and I'd be watching it here and there. And it's a great show. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but I guess one day I was watching it, and they mentioned the name Novacron, and
Hmm.
I think it was a planet. It was some planet that something was going on it. And I was like, you know
Hmm.
what? That sounds like a cool name. Why not use
Right.
it? So
Right.
I didn't really see anybody else using the name either.
Right.
So I thought, you know what? Why not? And that's really no story to that, but
Okay. All right. All right. But just to know that you had a history, and it's funny because the things that you mentioned, you have taken me down memory lane. Because I guess we were kids around the same time, from the Star Trek
oh yeah.
generations. To the the limited colored Lego that we
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
in the limited shapes,
Those
and
simplistic builds too.
right. Oh, absolutely. And then, come to find out we're both digital graphic artists, we
Yeah, that's
started out
crazy.
like that, Um, and so I'm almost like I'm looking in the mirror almost. So you kind of taking me down, you're taking me down memory lane a little bit. So I tell you what, uh, let's let's get right into your power slide, and then because they really don't want to see the power slide, they don't want to see the PowerPoint slide, they want to see the real deal. So we're gonna do folks, we're gonna do a PowerPoint, and our good friend Agent Playwell is gonna elaborate on some of his builds, so you can see the mindset that he was coming from when he made his creations. So we're gonna go into the PowerPoint sharing. All right, let's see. We're presenting to everyone, and this is what we want. All right. So they can't see you, they can't see me. All they see is the PowerPoint here. Can you see the PowerPoint?
Yep, I can see it.
All right, great. All right. So tell us about this right here. So it's amazing, and it's awesome that you would have a life partner that would have share the same hobby as you, and that support is everything that you do. So you know for the people that don't know you, go ahead and take the wheel from me.
So this, I believe, was one of the first images that I posted when I rearranged the city.
Hmm.
And I think I had just gotten a new phone. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a picture and see how good this comes out. So I took the picture, and I actually built that billboard shortly
Hmm.
after we watched the new Deadpool movie.
Hmm.
So I got the idea, let's make a billboard for it. And it was on Valentine's Day, so Agent
Okay.
Burkett and I, it was kind of like an ode to our Valentine's Day date
Mhm.
and watching Deadpool too. So, and I thought it was a cool idea. It
Yeah,
was, I've
absolutely.
never really seen anybody do something like that before.
Hmm.
So it's kind of like a little ode to Deadpool and to get him in the city.
Okay. Okay. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Like I said, it's just awesome to have, a partner that do the same thing you do. I think the first time I met y'all two, y'all were in y'all were in a stream building, I guess one of Big B's build offs on a Saturday night stream.
Oh yeah, that was
All
hilarious.
right. So now we take a look into Agent Playwell's parts of Agent Playwell's city. Man, you have a lot going on. You have a lot of theme going on here. Tell us, I guess, something about your city and the direction that you're going.
All right, so starting on the left hand side, that was kind of like the midway point in building the Avengers Tower.
Hmm.
So I kind of had to do it over a period of a few weeks because I didn't have all the parts yet.
Hmm.
But I did want to videotape the build because I wanted to create that time lapse video for the channel.
Right.
So I kind of figured, let's put it in the city, so I can organize the other room a little bit,
Hmm.
and let's throw the symbol up on the tower crane there, and take a picture and see
Right.
what it's going to look like in the city before it's done.
Hmm.
And that's really it about that one.
Okay. Okay. All right, so I think this one here on the right side, you were talking about some of the countryside. So what are some of the things that we can view in your city that's on the countryside of your city?
So I really wanted a nature driven part of the city. I wanted a nature driven area in the city because I love building trees and terrain, and seeing all that green and stuff. And I all those old road plates that I had when I was a kid, I wanted to incorporate those somehow too, because I had
Okay.
them. I might as well use them.
Right.
And so I threw in the Alicia's haunted house over there on the left. Kind of thought it fit well, just to fill up space.
Hmm.
And I was trying to think of a way to build a slanted road.
Okay.
And I had seen other people, I believe it was Alex Nunes that had done it, where he
Yeah.
just took a road plate and angled it and probably built some brick underneath it or something. I'm not exactly sure how he did it. But, I was like, what? That's kind of boring. I want to do something different. I want to do something unique. So I
Okay.
thought, why don't I just brick build a road, with some old gray brick that I had that I usually don't use. We usually
Yeah.
use the new light bluish gray brick. So I thought, that'd be a good way to utilize that brick that I have.
Right.
And thinking the old gray, let's make it beat up a little bit, like it's been there a while and it hasn't been really upkept either. Because
Right.
that's kind of how the brick is really, because it's so old.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
I threw together that thing and people seemed to like it.
Hmm.
So that was a cool little unique thing for the city that I did.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
you can't really see it in that shot, but Alicia's brick built mountain is right there in the bottom right. So that was a cool little thing that she did for the city way back when.
All right over here. Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Yep,
Okay.
that
Okay.
that thing. And
All right.
then where the Ferris wheel was supposed to be a farm, which hasn't been built. And I actually just, if we get time later, I can maybe show you guys around the city and see what I did over there.
Yes. Absolutely.
Because I did end up filling up that space until she gets to building that. But yeah,
Okay.
that was originally going to be a farm area with some crops and a farmhouse and a barn.
Hmm.
So that was the plan for that area originally,
Okay.
and I hope it comes to fruition at some point. But that's up to her, really.
Yeah. You got to crawl for your walk, right? You got to crawl for your walk.
Yep.
So now this is your life, Agent Playwell. Take us back. Take us back to these sets.
Oh man.
Because I mean, I remember some of these sets. Can I name them? Probably not, because my memory is shot. But when we see this,
it's funny that you say that, because pretty much 100% of these builds are either custom or heavily modified from a set.
Okay.
So that's kind of why I wanted to include this, and because I haven't really shown it to anybody publicly. This is 100% custom, and I was only 12 years old when I did this.
Wow.
And you know, dating it back a little bit, if you're thinking, oh, this wasn't very long ago, just take a look at that Sega Genesis in the top right there.
I see. I was just about to get on you about that Sega Genesis. I was just about to get on, because I know that shape anywhere.
And that carpet. I mean, who has that kind of carpet these days in
the wooden panel?
2000s. Nobody has that carpet anymore.
The wooden panel, the wooden panel walls. I remember them. I remember those were that was it. And so a lot of Sonic the Hedgehog was played on that game.
Oh man, you have no idea. So much. So just to go around a little bit with this, I'll just tell you what I was trying to accomplish. So right at the front there, that's kind of like a security. I can't remember exactly what they're called, but you know, when you go from state to state, you have to go through a stop or whatever you call it.
Right.
So that's kind of what I was trying to mimic there before you get into the city. And
right. So border patrol going on there, right?
Right. So on the right, we got just some brick laying down with a little garbage truck coming out. So that's kind of like the dump.
Okay.
And then on the right, those two buildings, I'm not quite sure what that is. I can't exactly remember what those are, but we got the police station up there and a fire station.
Right.
With a semi-truck coming around, and then a little gray hospital in the left-hand corner.
Yeah.
And then a gas station and a motel down on the left. And then a little restaurant. And then a little fisherman's wharf or whatever in the middle with a little pond, I guess.
So you had a fisherman's shack before the set even came out.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yep, got a little fishing pond right there.
And see, the thing about it is, as simple as this build looks, like because the pieces are so limited and the colors are so limited, but a 12-year-old seeing this, like, what 12-year-old would build a motel, you know, like out of Lego, you know, how would, you know, so that just shows that you were just that far advanced, just, you know, for the technology. I mean, for the tools that we had. I mean, I think this is phenomenal because, you know, to where you're at now, from this to where you're at now, it you know, it all maps out, you know.
Yeah.
I would never, as a 12-year-old, I would never think to even do a border patrol gate, or let alone a motel. And like I said, you had the fisherman shack that ain't even out yet, it's getting ready to come out, and it's ready, you know.
And actually, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention, but my sister actually played a good part in this too. She definitely helped put this together, and she always gets me for forgetting about her, so I didn't want to forget about her this time.
Yeah, you can't forget.
She helped me out building this, and this was to end this photo. This was pretty much the end of my Lego days as a youngin', before I went in my dark ages. So you could say this was the finale.
Okay.
Because once I built this, it was over, and I put it into storage.
Okay. All right. Let's see here. All right, there you are again. Is this a custom piece, or was this a set?
I would think it would be custom. I'm not quite sure Lego would put it outside like that. You know, I could be wrong, but yeah, no, this is a custom build.
Okay. All right.
And I think this was inspired by the X-Men animated series in the 90s, because I remember I had written on the back of this photo that it was called Battle Mansion. So kind of just thinking Battle Mansion kind of reminds me of Xavier's school, right? So I kind of think I got the inspiration from the X-Men animated series in the 90s from this.
Yeah, yeah, because they did have the animated show and everything was a big
Yeah.
hit, and then they came
Yeah,
out with
that
the
was
Sega Genesis game, and I see it.
it was huge for me, and I think that's what got me into Marvel actually. But that was a big inspiration, and I think I took that with me when I was building with Lego. And
Okay.
yeah, I built this amalgamation or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Yeah,
pretty complex though. I have to say it was pretty
I
complex to
see. I
build.
see. Yeah, who's just already calling it Ninjago City?
Yeah, it kind of is kind of cyberpunkish.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, we're back in your the present day where your city is. You know, as you can see here. Tell us about the picture that's on the right. Tell us what direction you were going in, where you see I see all the boats and the ports and the dock.
Yeah, so that was something that I had started from the very beginning, which was a giant brick built harbor
Mm-hmm.
with the docks.
Right.
So that whole section on in the front there is completely brick built. There's no wood or anything underneath that.
Ah, okay.
So I built that. That was kind of like a test run for learning how to build structurally with Lego and have it be structurally sound.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was pretty successful. I guess I had to rebuild it a few times
Mm-hmm.
just because I wanted it a little bit different than I had it from the very beginning. But it ended up being quite the staple in the city, and it's still there. You know,
All
you
right.
can still see it. But you know, it's yeah, it's a pretty big. It's overlooked, I would think,
Yeah.
by
Yeah.
some people because it's
Yeah.
such a
Because you.
simple structure. But
Right.
it's actually got quite a bit of brick under there.
Okay. Okay. And
Probably
I'm
some
looking at
Duplo
you.
actually. I actually ended up using some Duplo too for the pillars
Oh,
underneath.
okay. Yeah. I see. Yeah. Yeah. And it's like about maybe like the dock side and your beach is probably about 25% of your city on this page right here.
Yeah, yeah, you could say that.
All right, let's see here what we have. This is another closer look to your your beach side and tell us about this tree you have here. Tell us about that. I picked it because it was very unique and I needed to know myself.
Yeah, so I'd seen somebody create a tree like this. I think it was for an Ewok village at some convention, and there was a video about it. I think somewhere on the internet. So I can't take full credit for this design, and I think people have used this concept for making lighthouses as well, and whatever else you'd want to build, cylindrically.
Okay.
But I thought, you know what? Alicia and I just went up north in the redwoods to camp, and I
Mm-hmm.
wanted a giant redwood in the city.
Right.
So, and it actually wasn't as expensive as I thought it was going to be. I mean,
Right.
yeah, you do have to buy quite a bit of brick, but in the end, it didn't really cost that much. So it became a possibility to do in the city. Uh, Really, the only thing that were expensive were the leaves, the plant leaves that hang off of it. But the trunk itself wasn't that bad. But yeah, this
Gotcha.
this is at the stage where I hadn't topped it off yet. I was still kind of trying to figure out how to top it off, because if you look at a redwood, it doesn't stay the same size all the way up. It comes to a point almost at the top. So that I was trying to figure out how I could do that and still have it be, well built. And I still actually haven't figured it out quite yet. But
Gotcha,
that's because
gotcha.
I ran out of brick too.
Yeah, that's kind of easy to do. I see, but
Oh
it's
yeah.
just so much detail that you got going on, all and you're doing a 360 view
Yep.
around it. So, and it actually, even though it's not done, it looks pretty damn cool, like that, like as the hollow tree, it looks awesome. That's why I had to find out about it. You giving me some ideas for these water slopes and everything, like the texture that you have on your beach.
Yeah. So I wanted to that I kind of redid that recently. I think it looks a little bit more realistic now, but I really didn't want to use that many bricks for it. Really I could have really gone the distance and properly created that depth look, that people use where they stack the bricks and create that look where it looks like it goes underwater. But this was kind of like a good midway point for me,
Hmm.
and it works. I think I think it works okay. But if I were to do it for real, it would be much different. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
But
Okay.
this was economic. This was economics right here,
Right.
economically feasible for me.
All right, here's some of your doc work that you were putting in, and I had to capture this, and I like that you actually take photos step by step. As artists, we kind of harbor our labor, because we want to do it, and we don't want to you don't want to show how you did it, but not you actually show your techniques that you're step by step how you're doing it. So take us into what direction you were going when you were making this doc.
Okay, so whenever I build something large like this that's going to require a lot of brick, is I tried to look at my collection and see what I have a lot of, and it just ended up being that I picked a 2x8 black plate. So that's what I started with when I started creating the structure for the dock.
Hmm.
So I created this with a bunch of 2x8s, and it worked. It worked out pretty well.
Okay.
So, and I had those textured 2x2 round bricks for the pillars,
Hmm.
and kind of mimicked my local pier with this build as well. So I kind of had that for inspiration too.
Okay. All right. So here's more of the that's on the dock, right? This is still part of your dock area, and also you can see the mountain in the back there, that I like there.
Yep. So this was when the plates were all put onto that structure that we saw earlier, and then I saw this Paradisa Cafe set somewhere in someone's city, and I thought, oh,
Hmm.
that's a great set. That would be a great set to modify and put on the
Hmm.
pier. So I bought that set off of Bricklink
Hmm.
and ended up rebuilding it to my liking, and I threw it on that pier, and threw some guys in there. I haven't
Right.
finished that railing yet, as you can see. So
Okay.
I ran the
Yeah.
pieces. That's a typical thing.
Easy. Yeah. Easy thing to do, man, when you're building big, right?
Yeah. So yeah, and then that great white shark, I thought was a nice little touch hanging,
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. I didn't have any more of those. I think the big thing with this set
Hmm.
was those giant green slopes. I think that's what
Yeah.
really got me with this set, and how they used those for rooftop.
Yeah, yeah, it really pops as a
It
beach
really
house.
pops,
Yeah.
and it's something that you don't usually see
Hmm.
in like a modular or a creator set. So I think that's what really drew me to that set and putting it in the city, because it was different.
Okay, okay. Tell us about the mountain in the back. I mean, what was the inspiration off of that?
So that was Alicia's Agent Burkett's build, and
Hmm.
we wanted. I think she had the idea to create a mountain in the city
Hmm.
to go with the countryside, and I think I'm not sure. Don't quote me or not, but I think it was me that had the idea of it having that opening like a cove, and I
Okay.
think that was kind of inspired by Goonies a little bit, or Pirates
Yeah,
of the
yeah. You
Caribbean.
know what? I absolutely see that when you said that, you know, and it's like, all right, I was trying to see where you were going, and now that you said the Goonies, I could totally see that.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that's where the inspiration came from for that. So because I had the pirate ship in there, and
Hmm.
I thought it was cool. It was a really cool thing that she came up with. It was something that we had a reason to go to the Lego store for,
Right.
to fill up those Pab cups with all those 2x4 light bluish gray brick and dark bluish gray brick.
Hmm.
So, we'd go to the Lego store and get those and just build it up. And she did a great job, I think. And she made a little snow cap on the top there.
Hmm. Yeah,
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 I
yeah,
think
yeah.
that's the good.
All right. All right, so let's talk about one of your gems here. Actually, you got a guy in the chat that this was one of his gems, and he did highlight that you guys were at the same show and you displaying, somewhat of the same mocks, because they don't make a set for this, so this is pure vision here between you and him, and it's just amazing that y'all had the same vision and you were in the same place at the same time.
Definitely. And shout out to Jesse. He's a man. Um,
Yeah.
I kind of think he outdid me in the interior. I think he did an
Hmm.
amazing job on the interior. I
Hmm.
honestly, I don't think I do a very good job with interiors. You know, I spend more time on the exterior because that's what most people are going to be seeing when they look at a city. So that's
Right.
where I spend most of my time when I design buildings like this.
Hmm.
And so the inspiration obviously came from the original building that was in the comics,
Okay.
not necessarily the one in the movie, but
Right.
in the comics. And
Right.
because I started designing this before the Doctor Strange movie even came out, so I didn't even know what it looked like in the movie. This
Right.
was the comic book version was the only one I had to go off of, and
Okay.
I kind of had this idea. I saw one version of the Doctor Strange building of the Sanctum Sanctorum,
Hmm.
and in one comic they had it where it was abandoned or broken down, or being condemned possibly. And I thought that was a really cool idea because Doctor Strange is known for portaling in and out of places. He doesn't
Right.
necessarily have to use a door, or whatever, or stairs, or so I thought maybe that would be a good idea to do with this building and make it look
Okay.
run down, like nobody's there or living there, or hasn't
Right.
been
Right. Yeah.
living there for a long time.
Hmm.
So I made it look all broken up with the brick and the paint chipping and all that stuff, the glass shattered in the windows.
Mm-hmm.
So I went off of that idea, and kind of came up with this thing. And I knew the sand green roof had to be done. That's a staple in that building, and that's
Right.
why Jesse's is like that, because you got to have the sand green in there.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm sure it's like very, very expensive. Here's a little bit more detail of that sand green that you said. So you actually got different shapes in here. So I mean, it's very, very detailed on the outside here. And being that this is probably the sand green is the most premier color that we can get. Pockets run deep, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, I got a lot of this from a well-known bricklink seller in the Lego community. So
Hmm.
I actually was able to get it in one place,
Hmm.
surprisingly. And yeah, so
Okay. All right. So we're going inside. Tell us your thoughts. I mean, where were you? What direction you were going in when you started designing the interior?
yeah, so these are obviously work in progresses while I was building. The one on the left is that first floor with the living quarters, and I decided to do this this way because I thought it would be more interesting than just having a giant stairway in the middle
Hmm.
of the room.
Hmm.
Uh, Even though it's pretty quintessential to that building, but I
Hmm.
thought, I'm going to do a little bit different. And that yellow couch didn't end up staying in there. I ended up building a nice red and dark red couch to replace that. But for the most part, it's pretty much the same.
Okay. Okay. All right, we'll get on to the
Okay,
next
so
one.
oh, you
Oh,
want to
I'm
go
sorry.
back
I'm sorry.
to
Yeah, I got you.
the
Got you. Yeah,
main
I thought you.
on the right,
Yeah, please.
so that's the library. And it's pretty much the way it is now, except unfinished.
Okay.
So yeah, those shelves, or the bookshelves, are pretty much an extension of the set. So
Oh,
can't
okay.
take credit
Okay.
for that. But
Okay.
it looks good. They look good bigger
Yeah.
like that. So I'd have
Oh,
used
yeah.
it.
Yeah. Definitely a lot of detail in this build, and a lot of you could tell a lot of thought went into this. Um, Let me see here. All right. So tell us about I guess the picture the extra picture we have here of the Doctor Strange.
Okay, so that's the top floor,
Hmm.
and I wanted to integrate that portal beast from the official set into the MOC. So when you're looking at when you're looking through the window,
Hmm.
that big quintessential Doctor Strange window, you can see the
Hmm.
portal beast reaching out to him while he's
Okay.
at his desk. So that was
Okay.
an idea I had from the very beginning when building the MOC.
Hmm.
And then on the left there is the stairway, coming up to that floor.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. See. Yeah. Yep. Okay. How about tell us about the picture on the right?
So that's Ego. That was something I built for Brickfest Live 2017 in Philadelphia.
Okay.
And that was actually an extra build that I had done for the main build that Alicia and I built
Hmm.
for that show. And I wanted to include this one because I'm actually really, I have to say, I'm really proud of this one, because I'll tell you why.
Hmm.
It was something that I built after, like I said, after we had finished the other the other build of Ego, and it was all of the parts, all the spare parts I had from that build. And I kind of wanted to build the planet itself just to represent him that way, instead of you know with the surface, instead of just
Okay.
his surface. I wanted people to know what he looks like as a planet, because that's what people are most familiar with.
Right. With
But
ego. Yeah.
again, it was made with parts the spare parts that I had from that build. So it was quite a challenge. It was a real challenge
Okay.
to build it, and
Okay.
it came out great. I think it came out awesome.
Yeah, it looks great, man. It really do. A lot of detail. I noticed that you're very careful with choosing, choosing the right detail into a build. With that, here's another one of your gems. It's the star. I mean, it's the Avengers Tower with the Daily Bugle. Tell us about the Bugle, and then we'll get into the Stark Tower.
Okay, so that's my newest build, and
Hmm.
like with all of the Marvel builds that I do, I try to base it somewhat off the official set when it comes to the coloring
Hmm.
and somewhat the look and the elements that were used in the official set.
Uh-huh.
So that's when I build these, I try. That's what I try to do. I try to use the elements that they give you,
Gotcha.
and this
Okay.
is kind of what I came up with. And um, I wanted the big. I decided against putting the full wordage Daily Bugle at the top
Hmm.
because I wanted to keep it on a 32 by 32 base plate,
Gotcha.
and
Hmm.
like always, like I do with builds based on official sets. I try to stick to that. I try to stick to what they give you, like I said before. So I
Right.
did the letters DBC,
Hmm.
which stands for Daily Bugle Communications,
Right.
and that actually is pretty canon in the comics. They do have some Daily Bugle buildings which has the DB. That's all it says at the top is the DB.
Right.
So I think that's in later comics, but it was canon, so I rolled with it, and I ended up using those white ropes, those white Spider-Man ropes,
Hmm.
to create the blinds in the windows, which you'll see in my video, my mock review when I do it. But
Okay.
I thought that was a really cool idea. That was a feature that they had in the official set. But it was basically just a sticker on the window. If
On
I
the
don't know
windows.
if you call that
Okay.
or not, but they had the blinds sticker that you would put on
Right.
the window. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try to emulate that, but brick built. So and it really adds variation to what is a pretty simple build, to be honest. It's got a pretty simplistic front face for that building. So I
Hmm.
thought it really broke it up well and it made it unique.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, and that's you summed it up right there. You took a simple build and you made it unique. I think that's one of the talents that you and Jesse have, and I have seen this set. It's so simple and it's just so vague. It's just a box like, and to elaborate that much on it, it's just amazing, amazing. All right, so tell us about your starship here. I'm
Jeez,
very envious too. I'm very envious.
you're telling me it looks like it's gonna frickin' jettison off that platform. But yeah, this here is my my ode to the Lego community, really. I mean,
Hmm.
when I built this, there were so many other people in the Lego community who had already built these awesome Avengers towers. Um,
Hmm.
to name off a few, I'm sorry if I forget you, but um, some big inspirations for me were Down Under Bricks, Aussie
Hmm.
Bricks, Cool
Hmm.
Kid Bricks. I think Red
Yeah.
Faced Goose had one.
Hmm.
Bryce Middle Zealand, Zany Bricks.
Hmm.
Uh, those were the big ones for me
Hmm.
to get the inspiration to build this. And it's a cool looking building. It really is.
Oh yeah,
It's
definitely,
really unique
definitely.
looking. It's kind of like something that you would see in Dubai or something
Right.
like that. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
you wouldn't usually see it in New York City or something like that, even though it's based in New York City,
Oh yeah.
fictional.
Yeah. Fictionally, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like you said, you you took a simple build, and I mean, like you said, you had influence, but you took a simple build and you made it this monument. And that's one of the things that I do want to see live. I know the people in the chat probably want to see other things, but I want to see inside this baby. I want to see. This is one of my favorite buildings, and so I want to see what you got inside. And because I still want to know how you got the arc reactor in there. So I tried to put it in mind, but I just didn't have enough room. So and so we'll and with that said, here this is the arc reactor, is it?
Yeah, that's the
Is
arc
this it?
reactor. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Okay. And then you also have Tony Stark's iron collection. So tell us, just elaborate a little bit on both photos we have here.
Okay, so we'll start on the left-hand side with the arc reactor. That was something that I wanted in there for sure from the very beginning when designing this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you see it in the first Avengers movie,
Mm-hmm.
just briefly in the Avengers movie, where Stark Tower is being lit up close to the beginning of the movie. But yeah, it shows that it's somewhere down there in that building, that's powering the whole thing. So I wanted that in this thing, because I
Okay.
wanted that realism to where you go, that's what's powering this whole thing. And so I came up with this build that's kind of like suspended above the lobby area for Stark Industries.
Okay.
With those 8x8 grid plates, so the light kind of just shines down below, and it kind of makes it look industrial looking,
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
it's
Yeah.
kind of being worked on, or being researched. And got a couple guys working on the controls for it.
Okay.
And then on the right hand side was
Mm-hmm.
another thing that I wanted in there from the very beginning, was the Hall of Armor from Iron Man 3.
Yeah, yeah.
And because I was collecting all the suits. I'm still collecting all the suits. So I
Right.
wanted a way to display those in a cool way. So I
Mm-hmm.
thought, what? Why don't I make one of the floors his Hall of Armor? And it's not canon to the movie, but you know what? So what? This is my build. I'm gonna do it the way I want it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you gotta have a Tony Stark floor. I mean, he's as vain
Yeah,
as he is. You gotta
it's his
have at
build.
least one. Yeah.
So yeah, it's the arc reactor, and right above that's the Hall of Armor, and it kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That's the way Tony
So
would have done it.
so I did that, and was really happy with it. I kind of wish I could have integrated more lights in those little cubby areas, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe someday I'll go back and add some more light in there. You never know.
Yeah, yeah. All right, so here's some more details. I think this is your penthouse area over here on the right of the tower.
Yeah, that's the penthouse. That's at the very top, which I actually forgot to include in the second mock review video.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see it there.
Mm-hmm.
It's all tiled up. And I built that little pool table in the middle with some seating that's similar to the set.
Right.
And then I got 2 little mini bars on both sides,
Mm-hmm.
with stairways going up to it on the left and right.
Okay.
And yeah, I thought it came out pretty cool.
Yeah, even the detail on the Avengers insignia, that is just remarkable.
Yeah, that was another thing I wanted to do. I didn't want to just use the sticker on the quarter the cylinder quarter panel or whatever. I wanted it
Right.
brick built. And the inspiration from that, funny enough, okay, here's a story.
Uh-huh.
The inspiration I got for building this logo, this brick built logo, was actually from Jesse. And we actually talked about this, but I ended up finding his Avengers Tower on the internet, just looking through Google Images, and I had no idea it was his
Yeah,
at
same
first.
here, man. He
And
walked up to
I
me. I didn't
loved
know
it.
who he was, but I knew who that tower was. I knew where that tower was, and I
Yeah,
felt so ashamed because
yeah.
I adore his tower a lot.
Yeah, so I found his tower, and I was like, oh, that's a cool build. I love how he brick built the actual logo. So I was like, you
Hmm.
know what? I want to do that. I want to do something similar to that because I think that really makes it stand out more and
Right.
makes it more original looking. So, and I didn't want to do it exactly like his. So I did it more akin to the official set. So I made it all black
Hmm.
and used, mostly system bricks. I think it's all system bricks actually. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I came up with this, and God, it's one of my favorite parts of the build, really.
Yeah, yeah. You definitely, I mean, you definitely take your time out, and you definitely take your time out, and you definitely put in the detail, and it shows, bro. It shows big time. I
Thank
mean,
you. Appreciate it.
you don't play around with these things. You do it the right way. So, and all it is it's a cookie cutter for us small guys to look at and try to build next to you. All right, let's see here. Oh, okay, all right. Um, so you have a couple questions in the chat. I definitely want to see what you got going on. So, Big Sue asks, how long does it take for you to plan, purchase, build a mock on average?
Well, I mean, the Avengers Tower was a, a pretty big thing. That
Hmm.
took a long time. I mean, I started that back in October, I believe. I think it was right before the movie came out or right after the movie, the
Uh
Avengers
huh.
2 movie came out,
Uh huh.
and ended up building that and started building that in Lego Digital Designer because for
Okay.
something of that size and for the pieces that it needed, the elements that it needed, I didn't have much of any of them. So I
Right.
wanted to build it in LED first to get an idea on the parts count and
Okay.
to try it, to build it beforehand to see if I liked it that way, without paying for all the parts.
Right. Right.
And
Okay.
it took quite a while. It took quite a while because I wanted to do that time lapse video too. So it took longer that way because you have to gather all the parts first before you do that.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Let me see. All right. I tell you what, folks. Next week on the Icebox with Iceberg Bricks, we'll have DMV Brick Bros, one and only Cool Kid Bricks. Um, he will be showing us some very very cool stuff. And so look forward to that on Mondays, 9 p.m. And I tell you what, this is what we're going to do. Um, Agent Playwell is going to go ahead and let me see if I get you back on here. Stop presenting. I get you back up here. Agent Playwell is going to take us on a short tour. We are going to go overtime. It's 10 o'clock. I understand. I got a prize to give out. And Agent Playwell is going to show us his remarkable city. So I guess I know what I want to see. So, but I mean, you go ahead and show us, show us what you can. Um, I think you're a little bit frozen here, so you probably have to figure out. Yeah, there you go. There you are. There you are. All right, so I'm gonna put you on present, and we are watching you. Look like you clone yourself. So
Yeah, sorry.
as he's doing that,
Looks like my
okay,
phone's
as he's showing us his city, what we're going to do, what we're going to do is go ahead and submit your answers. Question number one was, what was the mock of that was, what was the name of the mock that was featured last week? That was motorcycle inspired by Jesse Brick Galaxy. And how many mocks did Jesse Brick Galaxy make? go ahead and type your answers into the chat right now, and good luck to you. I'm sorry about that, Troy. You go ahead.
Oh, I mean, if you want, just tell me what you guys want to see, really.
Well, I want to see the inside of the
Oh, that's right. You did want to see that. So you get a little sneak on how I take this apart, which is going to be really difficult for me with one hand. Let's see if I can set this down.
Yeah.
The Daily Bugle here. So this kind of peels off, and you got to lift it up a little bit, and then it comes right out.
Ah, I see.
Ball of armor. You see it okay?
Yeah, we see you great. We see you great.
It's a little different. It's a little difficult with the iPad here. My phone died for some reason. So we got the little curvature there. Tony in the middle. Little welding table.
All right.
And then this is kind of unfinished, but I had the idea of creating like a little bedroom area where they all share the same bedroom. And each has their own theme for each superhero. So we got Thor. And then Hulk. So his is kind of all crushed at the head because he kind of just plops down, and then we got Captain America back there with the shield as a lampshade.
Right.
And then we got Black Widow. And I had a Hawkeye one built, but I didn't quite finish it. So here's the medical station, which is kind of like the official set. Got those little stickers back there. Scientist or whatever, medical personnel. Then here's the repair station for the Iron Legion. And then up here, we have the Iron Legion.
Nice.
Shout. So they're on both. You got two on each side.
Right.
Let me see if I can pull these out. So we got one here. A little,
Wow.
Yeah, so that was kind of a cool idea I came up with.
Yeah.
And then here's the helipad. And then the top.
Right.
And then we got the power functions, the little antenna up there. The two guys running around. And that's pretty much it, really.
Yeah. Cool Kid Brick said he had no idea that your tower did that. I had no idea neither. I didn't even know he had the beds. I didn't even know he had the beds in there. That's why I'm glad I asked.
Yeah, I mean, if I had batteries in it right now, I could show a little bit more. The down in the lobby is really cool. It's kind of hard to see with reflection, but
yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, that's really all I can show right now. In there, without tearing apart or taking off the top, the whole tower. So yeah, here's the city. Got the Roxxon building back there. As you've seen. Oh, here's something that I haven't shown off yet. So, project that I've kind of started the tanker truck takedown set.
Uh-huh.
Pointed with how the semi truck looked.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? Let's turn that into an oil tanker train car.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be doing a video on this too. But
I
that
also saw that you did you did a building of the Roxxon too. That was
yeah,
awesome.
back
It was
there.
sitting behind the yeah, there it is, right there in the corner.
Yep. So I put some of that dark turquoise, I think it's called, in there, kind of just to give it a little bit of color, but not too much.
Mm-hmm.
There's no interior, but it's pretty
It
cool.
still looks great. Yeah, it looks real great. Yeah, it looks
Nice
great.
little skyscraper to add to the
Mm-hmm.
background. And it's all done on all four sides like this. So it was quite a bit of brick put in that. And then the cloud covers up there. Ego.
Right.
There he is.
There he is. Yeah, yeah. Love
Trying to
that
warn
layout, man. Love
bear
that
with me.
layout.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
So
they want to see it all, man.
well, let me go over to the side where the farm was going to be, and I'll show you what I did over there.
Okay.
So I got this medieval market set that I just absolutely love. So I set it up here. Kind of made like a
Uh-huh.
little old town area before you
Right.
go into the main city kind of thing.
Right.
And they look good. I think that looks pretty good actually.
Yeah. It's a good
So I
theme.
kind of
Yeah, it's a good theme. And pulled it together. Use the retro plates. You know, kind of make the old look. You know, I mean the road look a little old. You know, that's a good touch.
yeah. So still haven't added more trees. I want to fill this place up with trees. I really want it to make it look like, a forest almost.
Right.
I'm kind of thinking about moving the campgrounds from here
Mm-hmm.
to over here,
Mm-hmm.
so I can just fill this side up with trees as much as I can,
Gotcha. Gotcha.
and maybe make a little trail through it.
All right.
So yeah, that's pretty much the city. I mean, it's really not that big, but I've tried to pack as much detail and as much stuff in here as I possibly can.
You definitely succeeded, man. You
So
did.
it
You
looks,
did. It's a lot to look at. It's still a lot to look at. You know, you can't get bored because it's just so your town is so busy.
yeah.
Um, and so I want to thank you for coming on to the show, showing your wonderful gifts, man. And I'm sure that the community appreciates you as well. It's your show, man. What do you want to say, like to a young, say what would the Troy today say to the 12-year-old Troy if you had a chance?
Don't stop building. I mean, really, that's it. There comes there comes a point in a young man's life where he needs to stop playing with toys. I mean, that's the mindset that a lot of people get, I think, when
Mm-hmm.
they get into junior high or high school or whatever. Because that's when it happened to me. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
when I got into junior high, I was like, "Yep, I'm done. I need to do something else," Because
Mm-hmm.
then
Mm-hmm.
girls got into the picture and whatever else,
Yeah.
skateboarding or whatever, whatever you're into. That's not
Right.
Lego, not
Right.
toys.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, if I were to tell myself, maybe slow down a bit, but don't stop building. And
Okay.
because obviously we're never old enough, or we're never young. Yeah, we're never old enough to stop playing with Lego or to stop building at least.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
And, for me, it's a stress reliever. It is. It's a stress reliever. I can come home and after a hard day's work or whatever, or stressful day's work, and sit down and build a set or work on a MOC or you know, fiddle around in the city and do something. I don't know.
That's awesome. So young folks that are out there, those 12-year-olds, you're building with Legos, continue to build. And I think Troy has touched on, one thing that I do like is that you touched on that, here you are, an art student, an illustrator, a graphic designer, all this artistic gift, but yet you were able to come back around to, your childhood pastime, which was Lego. And you've taken it and you made an art out of it, and
Yep.
you're sharing that with the community.
And that's, you hit it right on the nail there. I mean, it became an art medium for me. I was weaning down on my digital art. I was actually doing a little bit of music too at some point that we didn't touch on, but the digital art was definitely something that I was really passionate about. And you kind of just, you hit that block, that artist block that everybody has at some point. And, Lego came around and it's like, it's back again, the creative, it's back. So it was great. It was great to use Lego to fill that space, that void in your creativity. So one thing I want to say though, just have fun with it. I mean, really, it doesn't matter how good or how bad you think your stuff is. At the end of the day, as long as you have fun, that's all that matters, really.
Right. Well, all right, folks, that's going to conclude this show. I appreciate you stopping. I appreciate showing all the love. Matter of fact, Troy, before we roll, just go ahead and give the folks that website where you said that they can actually see some of your website that you had with your illustrations. I think you had.
Oh yeah, so I do have a website. It doesn't have my art directly linked yet, but my personal website is Novacron, the name Novacron, onthespot.com. So that's my personal site that I put together. But if you actually want to see or download high resolution pictures of my stuff, you can go to novacron.deviantart.com and see them there.
All right, that's going to conclude today's show. Next week, Monday, I will have DMV Brick Bros own DJ Cool Kid. Don't forget to catch us on Wednesday night where we act a fool and talk about Lego. Plus, my brothers did something. They did the Cardinal Sin and bought Mega Blocks, so we'll be talking about more Mega Blocks purchases. So yeah, those guys going to be on a wall of shame. So we'll yeah, tough stuff, man. So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Iceberg, thank you very much for having me on. I really appreciate it, man.
Thank you for being a part. It's a huge deal to me, man. Like I said, you're one of the staples that are in the community that I look up to.
Thanks, buddy.